Dharmabytes is brought to you by Free Buddhist Audio, the Dharma for your life. Our work is funded entirely by donations from our generous listeners. If you would like to help us keep this free, make a contribution at freebuddhistaudio.com/donate. Thank you, and happy listening.
But for many people in Tibet, because this is where we find this symbol most commonly, just the symbol itself, the image, gave the teaching. The image gave the teaching. It was a constant reminder in shrine rooms, on the walls of monasteries, in people's houses, in eating houses, cafes. There would be very, very often a wheel of life. It was so familiar to the Tibetan people that it was a teaching in itself. So how did this image emerge? Well, I'm going to tell you a story. So it's a story from a collection which is called Divyavadana collection, which translates as divine narratives. So the collection of divine narratives. And this apparently stems from the 2nd century of the Common Era, so a very old text. And it's about the Buddha and the emergence of this image. So the Lord Buddha was staying at Rajagaha, where he often stayed, in the bamboo grove at the squirrels' feeding place. Now, it was a practice of Venerable Mahamoggallana. Now, Venerable Mahamoggallana was one of the Buddha's foremost disciples. And it was his practice, it says in the text, to frequent the hells for a certain time, then the animal kingdom, also to visit the ghosts, the gods and human beings. And having seen all the sufferings to be found in the hells, having witnessed how animals kill and devour others, how ghosts are tormented by hunger and thirst, how the gods lose their heavenly state, fall from it, are spoiled and come to their ruin, and how human beings crave and come to nothing but thwarted desires. So basically, Moggallana has experienced all these states that are depicted in this circle of the Wheel of Life. The hell realms, the god realm, the animal realm. So we don't know exactly how he's experienced some, whether it's just states of his own mind that he's observed in the past, or whether he's actually had these kind of magical powers that he's been able to visit other realms, as it were. But it just doesn't matter for the moment. It's a story. So having seen all this, he returned to India and reported this to the 4 assemblies of monks and nuns. And it says, whatever monk had a fellow bhikkhu, a fellow monk, or a monk pupil leading the holy life with dissatisfaction, so whenever there was a monk or a nun or one of the followers of the Buddhas who was leading the holy life but had dissatisfaction, he would take him to the Venerable Mahamoggallana, thinking, the Venerable Mahamoggallana will exhort and teach him well. And it says that such dissatisfied practitioners would again lead the holy life with keen interest, even distinguishing themselves with the higher attainments, since they had been taught and exhorted so well by the Venerable Mahamoggallana. And so at that time, when the Buddha was visiting Rajagaha, he noticed that the Venerable Mahamoggallana was surrounded by all these people, listening to him, talking to him, bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, that's monks and nuns, laymen and laywomen. And the enlightened one, the Buddha, asked the question, why the second of his foremost disciples was surrounded by so many people. And Ananda, who was always accompanied the Buddha, told the Buddha that Mahamoggallana instructed discontented practitioners with success. And then the Buddha said, but the elder Moggallana, or someone like him, cannot be in many places at the same time for teaching people. Therefore, in the monastery gateways, a wheel having 5 sections should be made. And the Lord Buddha explained, then it was somebody said, but the bhikkhus do not know what sort of wheel should be made. So the Buddha explained. The 5 realms should be represented. It then became 6 realms, just to let you know. The 5 realms should be represented. The hellish realm, that of the animal kingdom, the realm of ghosts, of the hungry ghosts, creatures who are always hungry but can't satisfy their hunger. While in the upper portion, the gods and human beings should be represented. And in the middle, this hub of the wheel, greed, aversion and delusion must be shown. A cock symbolizing greed, a snake symbolizing aversion, and a pig symbolizing delusion. And furthermore, the Buddhas are to be painted. Are the Buddhas there? Yes, the Buddhas are here. The Buddhas are to be painted, so enlightened beings are to be painted, pointing out the way to Nibbana. The space around the rim, this space, should be filled with scenes teaching the 12 links of dependent arising, which I'm going to have to leave you with because you have had a talk on that. And it must show clearly that everything, all the time, is swallowed by impermanence. And then he says the following 2 verses should be added as an inscription. So these are the verses. Make a start. Leave behind the wandering on. Firmly concentrate on the Buddha's teaching. As he, the leader like an elephant, did rout the mad elephant Nalagiri, so should you rout and defeat the hosts of death. Whoever in this Dharma Vinaya, this path of the Dharma, will go his way or her way, ever vigilant and striving hard, can make an end of suffering here and leave behind samsara's wheel of birth and death. So thus, at the instance of the bhikkhus, it was laid down by the Lord, by the Buddha, that the wheel of wandering on, with 5 sections, should be made in the gateways of monasteries. And then there's a little bit at the end, which is quite funny. So now the Brahmins and the householders would come and ask, "Reverend Sir, what is this painting about?" And the monks would reply, "We also do not know." And thereupon the Buddha advised, a bhikkhu should be appointed to receive visitors in the gateway and to show them the mural. But bhikkhus were appointed without due consideration to be the guest receiver. Foolish, erring, confused persons without merit. At this it was objected, they themselves do not know, so how will they explain the wheel picture to visiting Brahmins and householders? And the Buddha said, a competent bhikkhu should be appointed. So I hope I'm sufficiently competent to tell you something a bit more, but particularly about this hub of the Wheel of Life. So, what do we make of this story? Is it a legend? Is it a later interpolation put into the scriptures? But whether or not it was taught by the Buddha, it is what's called Buddha Vachana. So Buddha Vachana literally means the word of the Buddha, the word of the Buddha that's recognized as authentic teachings. But it can also be any teaching that is doctrinally authentic, that is, that's in accord with the authentic teachings. So this Wheel of Life is definitely Buddha Vachana. It's definitely in accord with the Buddha's teachings.
We hope you enjoyed today's Dharmabyte. Please help us keep this free. Make a contribution at freebuddhistaudio.com/donate. And thank you.